You ever have those times where you just completely lost your golf swing and you don't know what to do? It happened to me just last week with one of my students, Gary. I did three things. I adjusted the ball, I adjusted his stance, and I did one thing with the pressure movement on his feet that drastically got him back on track. Because every once in a while, we run into these situations where we're just completely lost and we don't know what to do. So here's what I want you to do. The first thing I want you to do is check the ball position. If your contact is bad, I want you to move the ball back in the stance, because we know that great ball strikers hit the ball and then the ground. So if I just simply take the golf ball and I move it further back in my stance, it makes it easier to hit the ball before I hit the ground. So that was the first thing, okay, that I did with Gary, is I moved the ball back in his stance. He kind of had it in that standard position that we teach in the vertical line swing and the bad lie of the book, all that type of stuff, kind of, you know, right in this area. But I actually moved it back, and immediately his contact started to improve a little bit, and you could see him kind of lighten up. So here's what I want you to do in the ball position. So instead of kind of going step, step, just move it back maybe just a little bit. All right, now that's going to move that ball back. It's going to be back in that stance, but it's going to definitely help you start hitting the golf ball first. The second thing that I did with him is we closed the stance. Well, when we take the stance and we close it a little bit, in essence what it does is it helps us rotate and turn more. So by taking that ball position and moving it back, and then taking the stance and closing it a little bit, that allowed Gary to get a little bit more hip turn and still make that ball first contact. Now, one of the things that's important here is that as you take your stance and you close it, make sure the club face stays square to the target line. I got my alignment right here. I got Nick, give him the thumbs up. Nick is right there behind the camera. So here's my target line. I'm gonna take my toe line and close it a little bit relative to the target line, but I'm gonna keep the club face square to my target line. So the face is gonna look closed. It's just gonna look closed to your eye. All right, so we've got the ball back, right? That's what we did with Gary. We moved the ball back and we closed the stance a little bit so he was set more like this. And immediately he started hitting the golf ball a little bit better. The number one thing that I did with him, and this is a little bit counter to what we teach in the vertical line swing. So some of you might be raising a little question thinking, well, wait a minute. That's different than what we teach in the vertical line swing, but sometimes you gotta go a little different direction. The other thing we did with him is I wanted him to keep more weight on his lead foot throughout the motion. So in the vertical line swing, you know that we like some shifting of weight from side to side. But in this particular situation, okay, with Gary, we got to get his swing back on track. So I had him feel like he was keeping his weight more on his lead foot as he rotated back. And if you've watched any of our stuff, you know that the pressure on the feet, the movement of the weight on the feet has a huge impact on where the club hits the ground. And so if I want to help him get ball first contact, if I want to help you get ball first contact, if I keep your weight more on the lead foot, that's going to help you hit the ball first. So we got the lead, we're set in here, we've got the stance kind of closed, we've got the ball back, face is still square to the target, right? Okay, and I'm gonna make a swing and just notice how my weight kind of stays on my lead foot here, into my lead thigh. Oh gosh, I don't know, maybe I should start playing like that. That was pretty darn solid. So if you struggle with your swing, you just completely lose it, okay, sometimes we gotta go a little bit different direction. Move the ball back, close the stance, keep that weight on that lead foot, and you'll find that you might just find your golf swing. So now that we found your golf swing and improved your contact, check out my next video on how to actually aim your irons.